Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Today we are going to revisit an old idea that gets talked about, and that is Dene. Is it truly worth it? And is it somewhere you need to be in 2025? Or has Dene kind of lost that vibe of being the hot spot to go for expats? Now with 2025 coming in, 11.9 million people are expected to come visit Dene. Now this could be short term or this could be long term, but it is a lot nevertheless. So this begs the question, what is making Dene so hot? And is 2025, is it really going to be the same paradise that it was back in 2023? Has something changed that's making it more short term? So today we're going to talk about 5 main topics that are going to help you decide if you should be moving to Dene or you should just make it a tour spot and then carry on about your way. Now, before we get into this, I have to make this very clear. This whole idea of living in Dene for $1,000 a month is not true. It's a fallacy. Coming out here as a tourist, living in Airbnbs or hostels every day for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks is going to cost you way more than $1,000 a month, simply based off the hotel fees. Plus, you can't cook at home because you don't have a home. And you're going to be out with a lot of people exploring, having fun, enjoying your life. It's a vacation. We save up for vacations. We don't save up to live in a third world country. So do understand today we're going to be talking about living in Dene. If you are coming out here as a tourist, do expect about $1,200 to $1,500 a month is a good number to have that will help you pay for your nice place to live, pay for your food every day, and give you a few extra bucks to go out, play pool, get drunk, do whatever you want to do. If you are living out here, $1,000 a month is what we're going to talk about today. Now, the first one is just cost of living and having a place to live. If you're going to live out here, obviously you don't want to be stuck in an Airbnb or you don't want to be stuck in a hotel. We've already talked about this. It's way too expensive and it will blow out the water, that $1,000 a month. So living out here, unfortunately, we kind of have bad news on this. In 2025, beginning of it, there's been new taxes regulated towards the local people, meaning rents are going up, meaning taxes on vegetables, foods, products are going up, meaning Vietnamese have less buying power with their money. So what is the best thing we do as business owners? We raise the prices. And I want to show you 2 examples here of what's going on out here today. The first one is a YouTuber that's lived out here for a very long time. And in 2024, you see he was paid right about $484 a month, overlooking the Dene beach. Good life. Everything was perfect, kind of a thing. And 2025, the start of it, his rent doubled up to $800 a month. Nothing was new, nothing was added, nothing was repaired, nothing has changed. It was just a price increase. And this happened from December. He paid $484. January, he had to pay $800. This doesn't include the utilities and all this stuff as well. So you can see right here, just off rent, we're looking at a very challenging time to live out here on $1,000 a month. Now, obviously, he's living on the beach. It's going to be a little more expensive. If you're living back in the village areas or if you're living back in the town areas where the local people are, you're going to find stuff for $200 or $300 a month. But again, you're kind of sacrificing living around the locals. You're going to deal with the construction, the noise, the pollution. You're going to be pretty far from the beach areas. I've done videos on where to find real estate in Vietnam. So you can find a 2 or 3 bedroom house in Da Nang for like $300, $400 a month. It's not impossible. Do understand the sacrifices. You're not going to be near any of the Western stuff at all. You are literally injecting yourself into the Vietnamese communities. And just a side note I want to share, I know this isn't too relevant to renting, but I want to share with you what's going on the Vietnamese side. Now, Vietnamese typically will buy a big building, 7, 8, 9, 10 different rooms in it, and rent it out to expats long-term or just turn it into a hotel. One of our members in our members group said, share this with me, and I got to share it with some friends of mine in Hanoi that work in an apartment of, and this is becoming a trend in Vietnam. And I'm going to put on the screen here an example, an apartment for rent in Da Nang. This is not unique. This is actually happening a lot. And I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, oh, I can buy this and rent it out. But I want you to look at this very differently. I want you to look at how the Vietnamese people are starting to suffer financially, where they are offering up hotels for rent, not a room. And this isn't like you rent the hotel for a month. These are like 2-3 year contract agreements. These are things that are starting to happen out here. And this is why rents are going up. Your rent is going to be one of the first things you're going to need to dig into. Check out my old videos. If you're part of the members group, jump in Discord, ask me where. I can show you where to get cheap property. You don't have to pay $800 a month. Let's get to the next one. And I think one of the most important things, food and beer. Now, when it comes to the food and the beer, in Da Nang, you're actually kind of lucky. The international food in Da Nang is really good. It actually tastes pretty foreign. When you get to Saigon, you get to Hanoi, these other like smaller cities, international food just tastes like Vietnamese food. If you get pizza, it's seafood pizza. What even is that? If you get spaghetti, they're just putting like tomato spicy sauce on it, so it just tastes like how at that point. If you're getting any types of like Spanish food, they pretty much just drench it in rice and soy sauce, and it turns into a Chinese egg roll. So international food typically in Vietnam sucks. Like, it really is bad. But when it comes to today, honestly really good. But it does come at a pretty hefty price. We're talking $5 to $7 to $8 for a hamburger. If you're getting big pancakes like an English breakfast or something like that, you're looking at $5 or $6. And I know this doesn't sound like a lot, especially if you're living in the West. Like $7 for breakfast, like count me in. This is going to get to you after a while, especially if you're living out here where you're realizing everything's cheap. And now your breakfast costs more than your rent. You're gonna be like, maybe I should just start eating noodles and rice. The 4 days we returned to Da Nang to reevaluate Da Nang, I think that's all I really ate was international food. And we caught a few things of Vietnamese, but the international food, I was really impressed. It's really good. It is super expensive though. Now, when it comes to the Vietnamese food, this is where a lot of Vietnamese are starting to suffer as well. Is you can hear the chicken in the background. Chicken, beef, and a lot of other specialties like pho, bun hieu, com tom, and stuff like this, including like porks and shrimp, are starting to get more expensive for the local people. You used to be, back in my day, 2015, you could get a bowl of pho for like 35K. This is about $1, $1.50. In Da Nang, it was running between $2 to $3. I'm actually out here in Phan Thiet right now, and a bowl of pho is about $3.25 a bowl. This is a Vietnamese area. This is not a foreign area. The pricing for Vietnamese in the food is definitely going up. You're still going to find the $1 deals, but you do get what you pay for. Now, something to keep in mind also is street vendors are starting to be regulated by the government, meaning they need to pay tax. So police can actually go up to street vendors, food carts, you hear the "Sao Day," you hear all this stuff. The police can now go up to them and say, hey, show me your tax ID form, meaning show me that you're registered to be a business selling this on the road. And yes, they are affecting these street banh mi vendors. They are affecting these people selling fake Rolexes on the side of the watch. All these people are now obligated to pay tax in Vietnam, which is ranging between 4 to 7% for most places. Larger restaurants are 7 to 10%, and it kind of stagnates around there. For people that are already suffering, now have to give 10% of what they don't even really have to the government for more tax, you can see why prices are starting to go up. So you do have the option of cheap Vietnamese food, but do understand it is getting a little more expensive, but it isn't international food expensive. And the final one is the coffee. Coffee out here is still what it is. Street vendors, you get it for $1. You go to Highland Coffee or Starbucks, it's like $3 to $5 a cup. You're good to go. My opinion, because I'm very health conscious, I typically just pay for the more expensive coffee, or I just get instant coffee, just because I don't trust street food no more. If you see how things are made, it will scare the shit out of you. And even in Da Nang, shit is very weird. Now, the final one, beer. Beer is cheap. It's $1.10 a can. If you get the big bottles, you're looking at a couple of dollars. If you're in Western areas, you're probably looking at like 90K for a liter, I think we were paid. So right about $3 or $4 a liter of beer. So like a big thing, draft, right? It is quite expensive. If you're in America, I think a draft runs between like $5 to $7. Now, these prices are if you're in a Western establishment, you're at a pool hall, you're at a bar, stuff like that. You're going to pay more. If you're within the local area, you're probably looking like $1 a can. And then you have something like Beer Hoy, which is, it runs right about $2 a liter. I think it's a 5-liter jug. But I will warn you, Beer Hoy is very unsafe to drink. It's unregulated. The water's typically not filtered like you think. It can be fire hydrant water. I'm not joking with this. It's kind of like Baijiu in China. It's not regulated. So you could get alcohol poisoning or even worse drinking this stuff. So do be careful. A lot of Vietnamese that drink that get food poisoning and they get sick, usually the next day. But beer in general is pretty cheap. It is also one of the most expensive things for foreigners because we love to drink a lot and every day. And when you put the rent and the beer together, you've already blown through $1,000 a month. Now, the next one, let's get into transportation real quick. So what do you do out here? Taxi versus a bike, renting a bike, right? Now, if you're going to live here, you're going to be like, you have your condo by the beach and stuff like that. You're best off just getting a Grab app, putting it on your phone and just getting a Grab. I was all over Da Nang on a Grab. I never paid more than like $1.20. It's much cheaper than paying for a motorbike rental. It's also safer because a lot of the police are starting to stop foreigners asking for their driver's license. If you don't have a driver's license and an endorsement in Vietnam driving a motorbike, you can't get in trouble. And a lot of these rental spots are now being caught and getting fined by the government. If they pull over a foreigner renting their bike and that company gave the foreigner a bike without verifying their license, the company gets fined. So now it's getting harder to even rent a bike in Vietnam. Honestly, just save money. Just get Grab. You can get a car or a bike. It's way cheaper in the long run. Now, if you do go through like taxis and stuff like that, I want to warn you, taxi scams are real, even in today. If you just jump into random taxis, they're going to scam you 95% of the time. If you jump on a random bike, they're going to scam you 95% of the time. Download Grab. It will tell you the cost right there. And the driver has on GPS where you need to be specifically. So there's no questions, there's no issues, there's no, what are you trying to say to me? Where's Google Translate? None of that shit happens. Just save your money. If you're going to be out here for like 6-7 months, sure, rent a bike long term, or even buy one for like $400 or $500. But again, get a license. If you're in the members group, we talk about how to get a motorbike license in Vietnam. I have a direct connection to help you get it, so it can be done. Don't try to drive around without a license. It's getting cracked down on in Da Nang, Saigon, and Hanoi are getting hit the heaviest with it because this is where all the foreigners are. Now, the last thing I want to talk about today is expats and the growing community out here today. Is it getting too big? The beginning of this video, I said there's going to be approximately 90,000 guesstimate of tourists coming to Da Nang in 2025. How many of these tourists are going to stay? How many of them are going to leave after, their 3-month visa? That's the question that nobody has an answer to. And this is where we get into this idea of, are there too many expats in Da Nang? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know my Vietnamese viewers are going to be a little upset with this, but hear me out. When there is more foreigners in a city in Vietnam, it typically becomes a lot cleaner, a lot more livable, and it becomes more sane. Right? Vung Tau was an amazing example of this. Vung Tau was an amazing city that was occupied mostly by South Africans and Australians. And they ran a lot of the businesses. They got married to locals, kept the beaches clean. They kept the city clean. And Vietnamese that were around them knew to be clean around them, right? During the pandemic, a lot of these Australians and South Africans had to go back to their countries. This is where Vung Tau just became a Vietnamese town, and it went to shit overnight. It became a landfill. The beaches were so dirty. We did a video back like 3 months after the borders opened and Vung Tau, and the beaches were covered in trash, pee, fecal matter, is that what you call it?
Hey, look at all this. This is actually a mix of trash. Oh my god. It's actually worse when you get close. So it is shells, but look at all these bags. Plastic everywhere. Holy shit. Oh my god. I'm trekking. Look at this.
It was the most disgusting thing I ever saw. And this is what happens when it really becomes a full-on Vietnamese city. And again, I know a lot of you are going to get tagged me, David, you're stupid. I've been out here for 12 years. I grew up in the culture. I'm telling you, if it's not mine, I don't give a shit about it. This is the mentality out here. So when it comes to Da Nang, there's a lot of foreigners out here, meaning that it's a clean city. When you get out to the Vietnamese side of Da Nang, you'll realize real fast that there's not foreigners there. It is not because you don't see white or black people. It's because you hear all the honking, you see all the trash. When it comes to the expats coming to Da Nang, is it a bad thing though? I feel that it is starting to raise prices. You guys saw the rents. Vietnamese are starting to feel like, oh, I can just triple the rent prices when it comes to condos. We could double the fuck fees. We could double the beer costs. Like seriously, $5 for a liter of beer in Vietnam is insane. When I first moved here back in 2014, 15, you were looking at like 25 to 30K for a liter of beer, like Saigon Reds and Saigon Green beers. These were liter beers. And this was on Buoy Vin. Now, those same beers are like $5, $6, which is insane. So the inflation rate is starting to hit Da Nang because of the expat community. But at the same time, you're getting a cheaper life, which is probably cheaper than LA or New York or the UK or something like that. And you're getting a cleaner beach city. But I do feel, with that being said, and understanding how the government works out here when it comes to tourism, is Da Nang is going to start turning into a construction-based town. And it already has. I've talked to members in my members group. I've talked to expats and other YouTubers out there. Everything in Da Nang in the western side is becoming construction sites. And this is what Vietnam tends to do, and it destroys everything. Sapa, Vung Tau, Phan Thien, Saigon District 1, 3, 2, and 7 all have been destroyed because Vietnam sees, oh, there's a lot of foreigners here. Let's build more fucking hotels. And that's what they do. And it creates a lot of negative feedback from the foreigners to the point where they leave and find another spot to go. So with that being said, answering the beginning question, is Da Nang the spot to be, or is it starting to die out? Is going to be one of the last years where Da Nang is the cheap, must-go hotspot for Vietnam. 2026, I feel, with inflation, the new tax laws, push to turn everything to ultra tourism, and the demand of the foreigners getting tired of a lot of this chaos, noise, and whatnot, it's going to scare a lot of people off, and they're going to start going to places like the Philippines, going to places like Thailand, where both of these countries offer a 3-year tourist visa, being the Philippines, and Thailand offered a 5-year tourist visa, even a retirement visa. Vietnam offers none of this, and this is a big downfall for Vietnam, is they don't offer anything long-term. But Vietnam is a factory-based country. Last month alone, over 80,000 Chinese factory workers have already moved to Vietnam, be it Minh Hoi, Saigon, or Hanoi, looking for work, which is going to damage the economic status of this country. So my advice, if you're already out here, enjoy it for 2025. If you haven't been out here yet, get out here now. Da Nang is an amazing city. I think it's one of my favorite spots in all of Vietnam over the decades. It is definitely the best spot to be. So if you have any other questions, any other concerns, please join the members group, ask me in the Discord, or leave a comment below. And with that being said, if you have any other questions about Vietnam, any other things, check out one of these playlists that talk about everything about Vietnam. I cover it all. I don't bullshit with you guys. I don't shill nothing. I give it to you to the point to where I get phone calls from people I don't want phone calls from telling me to stop talking about this shit. But it's there for you guys. So that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching. I will see you again.